One of the most common questions I'm getting lately is how to become a writer. So I'm going to give you some tips in this video. Hi, I'm Michelle Mahoney. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about how to become a writer. This is a question I get asked a lot lately. Ever since I published my book in November 2022, I have been asked this a lot of times. Like, how do you become a writer? How did you start your book? How did you do all these things? And so I want to give you some tips today of things that you need to do if you want to become a writer, if you want to publish your book or publish articles or a blog or whatever it is that you want to do. You've got to follow a set of rules first, okay? The number one thing I would tell you that you need to start doing is you need to write every single day. Every single day, you have to write some way, shape, or form. So whether that be a paragraph, or you write in your journal, or you write a writing prompt, whatever it is, texting and social media comments do not count. They are writing, but you want to write structured, constructive writing, okay? So if you join my group, I have a Michelle Mahoney writing group, and when you join there, I give writing prompts every day to help get you to start writing every day if you're not already. These prompts are going to be a great way for you to go ahead and start that writing process. You'll also be able to comment on each other's writings, and you'll get some ideas and inspiration about different things. So whether you join that group or not, I will link it down below. You need to find something that's going to give you inspiration for writing. So maybe you take a notepad and a pen and you run outside and you just take, a little paragraph about the things that are going on around you. Maybe you go to your local coffee shop or the library, you people watch, go to the beach, sit in your car, whatever it is you want to do, just take some time to write some thoughts. Descriptive scenes can be a great thing. Maybe writing about a character, maybe writing about a past memory that you've had. We just had a bunch of holiday celebrations and things going on, so you can write about something that happened there, write about something funny, write about something that you've seen before, write about a tree description, and literally anything. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to give you some ideas here. You just have to start writing. Whether you type it, write it on your phone, write it by hand, it doesn't really matter. It's the act of writing that's going to have you become a writer and become a better writer. So not just a writer, but you're going to become a better writer, because as you start writing, you're going to start noticing different ways to set things up or better descriptions. Let me tell you this. Just because you're writing all these things, they don't have to be equaling up to some giant thing. They also don't need to be something that you go back and edit and review. Now, you certainly can do those things, but that's not what I'm saying here. All I'm saying is you want to start getting in the habit of writing, and that will help you get into the writer's state of mind. Now, if you've been following my channel, you've heard of me talk about this site called NaNoWriMo. I will also link that down below for you. There's no sponsorship or promotions or anything. I'm just letting you know that this is a great site for you to be able to use to keep track of your writing. And this might help prompt you to say, okay, I wrote, 400 words today and I want to log it somewhere. If you're like a competitive person or a tracker person, psychologically, I love it because I learned in psych class in high school that sometimes I'll do like a whole list of things in my house that I didn't write down yet, but I need to go write them on paper so I can physically check off that I did it. I don't know, it's maybe a sign of insanity or something. I don't know, but I know I'm not alone because I've met other people that feel the exact same way. But for some reason, writing stuff and checking it off or tracking it or whatever, it makes me feel good. I'm a behavior analyst and data and graphs and all that. I love it. I'm a nerd, I know. But I think a lot of people out there love being able to see an end result and tracking their goals and their progress because it allows them to see that they've actually made progress, okay? So writing every single day is my first tip for you. The second thing is reading anything that you can get your hands on. Reading a book, a self-help book, a fiction book, a magazine. Hey, if you're still into newspapers, read newspapers, articles on the internet, anything. Reading gets your creative juices going, and it also keeps your brain sharp, right? You're learning maybe about new and different things. You're learning how other people's write. I love to read fiction books in general, but I find myself too, wondering how they came up with that description that they wrote, or admiring how they described that certain character or the movements that they did, or the basic sentence of just them noticing something on the wall in the apartment that they just walked in or something like that. This gives your characters in your book a sense of realness, and your reader can see that and understand that. So I find that reading every day is also super helpful for those creative juices. Not only that, but it's super fun. So you might already be doing these things, reading and writing every day, right? But the next thing, if you want to become a published writer in any sense of the word, whether you're self-publishing or sending it out to somebody, or you're writing a blog, whatever it is that you want to do, if you want to have a publication, then I would go ahead and say the third tip for you here is to narrow that down in some way, shape, or form. Now, you could say that you want to write a book. You could say that you want to write poetry. You want to write an article. You want to start a blog. Any of those things are publications. Whether you're doing them yourself or not, they're publications. But you want to just write, just pick one and go for it. And here's why. I want you to hear my backstory. So when I first started writing this book, well, I guess I call it my official start of writing the book, because I've written several books over the years. I've gotten like 10 pages, then 50 pages, then 70, then 20 over here. I've written and stopped millions of times, probably within at least the last 20, 30 years. And I've just never really been able to put my full story out there. So last February 2022, I was walking with my friend Gina down the street. We had just picked up our girls from school, and I was telling her I wanted to write, and she was already in the process of writing a book, and she was like, girl, just do it. Just write it. What are you waiting for? And I was like, damn. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else stopping me. Everything else that comes out of my mouth is an excuse. I just have to write it. So I did. I sat down from February probably till about like July-ish, I want to say. I wrote like over 100 pages. It was really internal grief and healing, and it was a process, and it was like a lot, because if you read my book, it's very, very heavy. And if you know now, my book is called dark poetry. That's my genre, is dark poetry. But I'm telling you how I was writing a novel. So yes, I wrote a novel for like 6-ish months, and after writing over 100 pages, I forget exactly how much, but it was a lot, over 100 pages. And then I sat down one day and I was like, nope. This isn't it. I can't. Nope, this is not going to be published. It was like so healing and therapeutic, and it was nice to get it all out there. And as I was writing it, I was like, okay, I'm going to put this out here. Okay, I'm actually going to do this. And part of me always knew I was just too uncomfortable with the way that I was writing it, the descriptiveness, like putting people's names out there, just everything about it. And deep in me, I was like, I can't do this. Like, can I? And it just, at the end, when the end came to it, I just felt like, I don't feel comfortable putting this amount out there. I don't feel comfortable with how detailed I got and what I'm going to put out there. It wasn't what I wanted to put out for the world. But I knew I wanted to put my story out there. I just needed to make it in a way that was going to be comfortable, yet still send the message that I wanted, and, have that piece for me forever. So when it came down for it, I really wanted it for me. And so I was like looking around, and I went on TikTok and YouTube, and I was searching for inspiration everywhere. And I can't quite put a mark on where it came from. I want to say it was probably all the TikTok videos I watched. But I started learning more and more about like the dark poetry. And I went down in the deep darkness of, the internet, because I knew that my stuff was going to be the deep, dark, depressive stuff. Like the stuff that people don't talk about, the stuff that people are horrified when they find out that you went through it. I was like, yeah, that's me. But I'm like, I have not written poetry since probably like a teenager. Sometimes poetry is just too like silly for me in some ways. And like, I don't know. I just had this thing about poetry. Like, I've written a bunch and I've loved some pieces that I wrote, but something about it made me feel like maybe it wasn't serious enough or good enough or whatever. I can't like pinpoint exactly why, but I just like wasn't thinking about it when I started this. And then when I wrote everything out and I was thinking about a genre to publish in, I was like, oh, poetry might be the way to go, because I can be discreet, but yet direct and detailed. And that's going to get my story across in a way that it still makes me really comfortable. But I also feel like it's portraying what I want it to portray. What I want to tell my story. And so I started one night. I was like, all right, let me read side by side. I had read my 100 pages, and then I was taking poems out of it. And I even had all my journals from 5th grade. Yeah, it's like 4th or 5th grade. I always say 5th grade, but sometimes I think maybe it was 4th, but whatever. regardless, I had like an elementary school journal all the way up until my like early 20s, mid 20s. And I was like, all right, I'm going to take my journals. I'm going to take my story that I wrote and I'm going to like go with this. And bringing out those journals, man. Oh, wow. That reminded me of a lot of things. Like I realized I had suppressed so many emotions. So if you have old journals, this is like a trigger warning almost. Like be careful before you take them out. Like make sure you're prepared and ready, because when I started reading things back, I'm like, oh my God. Like I immediately remembered it, but I was like, oh my God, I pushed that so far out of my head so I'm able to move on and live life. Because if I didn't, damn, it makes it like the anger started to come back up at people that I had already forgiven things for and that I've already moved on and accepted it. And it's like crazy, but the feelings were still there. They was still in me, and like reading it like it was fresh, like it was the first time all over again. And then I was really experiencing it again. It like took a really big toll on me. It like took a lot out of me physically, like all over again. And then I was watching a YouTube video, and I'll never forget, I wish I wrote down who said it, but I'll never forget what she said. She said, don't write down and try to publish something that you're not actually healed from. And that really made me take a step back and think about it. Like, am I ready? And I think that's why the like novel, memoir, whatever, I wasn't so comfortable with, because I'm healed, but I'm also not ready to write in that form about it. It was like too detailed. And I just wanted to get the point across without really going into heavy detail. I don't know. That's just the way I felt about it. So when I started doing the poetry, I was like, all right, after each poem, I was like, do I feel good about this? Like, is this going to portray the right message? Is this going to say what I need it to say? Is this going to tell my story? And do I feel comfortable sharing this? And at the end of the day, after each one, I was like, yeah, okay, I like that. I'm good with that. I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with that. And so I just went through. And after I like felt complete, because I did it in like a sequential order, I was like, wow. And then I went back again and read them again. And oh God, man, the editing process is something next level. And Gina warned me about that, but it is something next level. But it just made me realize that there's so much more to the whole writing process. And even though I started in February with a completely different genre, by November, I was self-publishing my book. And so that's why I'm telling you this story, is that just because you start one way, you might end up something with completely different. And you never would have thought of that if you didn't start writing to begin with. So that's why I'm saying, like, just start writing. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be ready. As much as you're like anxious to get your book out there and get it going, like I was like, I want my book tomorrow. Like I want it published. The patience I'm still working on. I have patience with so many things, but when it comes to my own completions of things, I'm like, no patience. But I do recommend just starting the writing process and just like throwing up vomit of like words of everything that you want to talk about. And then later you can put it in order. And the greatest thing about writing on a computer is cut and paste. Like I love pen to paper. I am a pen to paper person, but when I'm writing now for like books and things like this now, like I'm computer, because if you write on paper, then you have to transfer. It's going to take twice the time. You can certainly do it. I definitely have a journal that I write in, but I'm not planning to put that on to the computer. So it's definitely all about the way you want to do it. And if you want to write pen to paper first and then, speech to text it later or write it later, do what's good for you. 100%. Don't let me or anybody else tell you how to do it or what to do it. I'm just offering advice, just like you'll find on any other YouTube channel. They're going to offer you advice. What works for me may not work for you. But the important part is that you just get started. Like 100% you just have to. Because if I didn't do that, if I didn't, talk to Gina that day, maybe I still wouldn't have a published book right now. Maybe I wouldn't be already almost my second book done. So even with the second book, like as soon as I was finished that one, I was still like thriving. And I was just like, all right, just write what comes to your head and just go with that. But you have to write every single day. And so I just want to encourage you and hopefully inspire you. Hopefully this story inspired you to just get moving. And the way you're going to be able to do that, if say you don't know what your story is and you didn't have a trauma-filled life of childhood that you're like, I don't know what to write about, that's where the writing prompts come in. Find writing prompts. You can go to Google and find writing prompts and you'll find millions of things. But my group is going to post them. I'm going to post them every day, some writing prompts with you, because I feel like it's really important to have that sense of community and have that prompt for you ready and sharing it with other fellow writers. And it's a safe space. We're all like beginners in there. So feel free to join us, comment, share, all those things. But definitely Google is your source of information. YouTube is your source of information. Just get some writing prompts, get a journal or find a Google Drive and set up a new thing and just go for it. And you're going to start finding, whoa, like I didn't even know that was in me. And I just wrote about a character that I never met and I never even shaped before. And now all of a sudden I'm writing about them because you sat in the park and watched 50 people live their life. Like that's how it comes out. You just have to actually do it. I want to apologize for any background noise that you've heard this entire time because my children don't want me to be in here doing this right now. But I wanted to get this out here for you. So comment down below if I shared any tips that are going to be helpful that you're going to try, or comment down below or share any tips that you want to share with us if you're already a writer, or if you have heard something really great that you want to share with the rest of the community. I would love to hear about it. So definitely let me know. And if you're not already subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to it. I'm going to be sharing lots and lots of content about writing and lifestyle and things like that. And I'm really excited to share that with you as well. And don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, because it really helps my channel. So I really appreciate that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and continue packing for my road trip. And you might be seeing a couple of vlogs from this girls' road trip coming up. So stay tuned for that as well. And I'll see you in the next one. My name is Michelle Mahoney. And if you came to this channel, you are in the right place if you want to become a writer. I am now a published author and I've been writing for over 30 years. And I'm going to give you some tips today about how to get started yourself.